All right. Today we're at Oz Music in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I am with...
I'm Jason Patton. I'm the owner of Oz Music here in Tuscaloosa.
Okay. Jason, you just taken over as owner. Can you give us a little bit of history? You've been around and...
Yeah, Oz has been around for a long time. It was a chain in the 70s. It stretched into the Carolinas, up into Kentucky. There were several stores throughout Alabama, and Tuscaloosa was obviously part of that chain. And in the late 80s, the owner of the chain started to sell off some of the more profitable stores, which ended up becoming Turtles, which became Warehouse Music and that whole lineage of corporate stores. And the least profitable stores he was just closing down. And the manager at the time of the Tuscaloosa store, kind of in a bid to save her job, approached Mort Jordan about purchasing the store, and he kind of did it on a whim. I mean, his background was not in retail, was not even in business per se, but he was a customer of Oz and wanted to kind of get into it, thought it would be a nice little hobby, and so he bought the store, like I said, on a whim, and he quickly figured out that it was going to be much more than a hobby. This was at a time when the price wars were going on amongst all the major stores, so Oz couldn't compete with the low prices that they were selling things at. So he kind of did a little self-evaluation and tried to figure out something that he could provide that the other stores weren't, and that was customer service, he felt like. So that quickly became the mantra of Oz Music, of providing exceptional customer service, and that's what's kept us around at this point. I mean, this is 2016 and we're still thriving. So, it was the mantra then when he took over, and it's still my mantra and will always be as long as I have anything to do with the store.
Okay. And when did you come on board?
I started with Oz in March of 2000. I was in college at the time and just, took it on as a part-time job and kind of worked my way up through the ranks.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Jackson, Alabama. I've lived in Wilmington, North Carolina for a little while, but I think Jackson is where I'll always call home.
Okay. And did you have an interest in music growing up down there?
Yeah, I did. My parents probably didn't have the best musical taste, as the general consensus would be. My mom pretty much just listened to soft rock, top 40 type stuff. My father was just real big into 80s country, 70s and 80s country. So musically, music wasn't a big part of my childhood from my parents' perspective, but from mine it was. I always gravitated toward music. I remember, as a kid being 9, 10 years old, listening to my radio, as I go to sleep, and this was in the late 80s, early 90s. So I remember making my own mixtape from what was played on the radio. I'd record one song and I'd hit pause until the next song started coming on that I wanted to record. So I was making my own mixtapes at 9, 10 years old. So music always meant something to me, and the older I got, just the more I kind of diversified my taste. I would go through phases. In my adolescence, I went through a heavy metal phase, and then I went through a rap phase, and just kind of all over the board at that point. And, it really wasn't until I started at Oz to where I really, truly broadened my music taste and likes. It's such a cliche music store guy thing to say that I listen to everything, but I truly do. At this point, I listen to classical music. I listen to international music. I listen to, the current. I don't really care for top 40 stuff, but I have a 9-year-old daughter that dances a lot, so I get to hear it that way. So. But I do listen to everything. I'll give anything a shot. I mean, I like everything. No one will like everything, but I at least give it a shot and can appreciate it for what it is.
Okay. Music has changed immensely since 2000.
Yeah, the music business definitely has. Definitely has.
You want to tell us some of those changes since you've been?
So the 98, 99 was really, I think, when Napster started coming into kind of everyday life for especially younger generation. 2000 it really exploded to not just the younger generation, and digital music, free digital music, was a big revolution. It was touted as being the death of music stores and the music business. I never saw it as such. I'm not going to sit here and say that I've never downloaded a song to listen to, but it was always I've always been a proponent of physical product. I think there's something about physical product that you'll never be able to get from a download. So even in the early 2000s, I didn't jump on the digital bandwagon. But a lot of people did at that point, because it was new and it was easy. I mean, it was time consuming because of technology at that point, and we didn't have broadband. So I mean, it was a dial-up connection. It would take you 30-45 minutes to download a song. So it wasn't like you could go hear a song on the radio and go download it in 3 or 4 minutes like you can now. Actually, quicker than that now. But a lot of chain stores kind of succumbed to that. I think a lot of the chain stores in the early 2000s just couldn't react quickly. I think when you have buyers that aren't in the physical stores, it's hard for those buyers to know what those customers want. And I think, I saw it, I can give you a personal example. I saw it here when Warehouse Music closed here in I think 2003 or 2004. We went in and bought some of their fixtures, some of their cases and stuff like that. And I just saw so much waste in inventory from a perspective of, they had like 30-something karaoke machines that retailed at over $100. They had 8 box sets of a Talking Heads box set that had just been recently released. And Tuscaloosa is a market where you don't need to have that much product in your store. So I think it's a disconnect that a lot of the chain stores had, that the music business as a whole is a worldwide thing, but what people listen to in Tuscaloosa, Alabama is not what people are listening to in Seattle, Washington. It's not what they're listening to in Baltimore, Maryland. So you have to have more of a boots on the ground approach from a buyer's perspective to know what your customers want, because it's not the same everywhere. So I think a lot of the chain stores kind of succumb to that as well. A lot of the independent stores at that time around town, we had several that just, I think, maybe got tired of the hustle and bustle of it all and kind of folded up as well. But the early 2000s, the first 5 years of the 2000s were a rough time for the music industry. But for us, for Oz Music, we always harken back to that customer service. I mean, we strive to provide the best customer service. It's not just walking into a store and us pointing to the CD that you're asking for, the album that you're asking for. It's us talking about it. And if you love A, then you need to listen to B, C, and D. And just turning people on to music is part of what we do every day. So that's, there were stores that didn't want to offer that couldn't offer that, and we still offer that. So, I think the stores, and it's not just in the music business, I think any small business, if you don't pay attention to your customers, what they're wanting, and then being engaged with your customer, I think it's a detriment to your business. So Oz has always taken that approach of putting the customer first, because honestly, none of the other stuff matters. It doesn't matter what kind of selection I have. If I don't treat my customers how they should be treated, it's a moot point of what I have in stock. So, customers will always be our main priority and our main focus.
Okay. The last chain is going out now. FYE is leaving Birmingham. Mm-hmm. How will that change their market?
It will. I mean, you still have Barnes & Noble that carries music. You still have Best Buy that has a small music selection. But I think it hurts the overall market. If nothing else, from a perception standpoint, because the public perception goes a long way. So if they see another music store closing, it's, the music business is dying, and honestly it's not. It's changed, but it's not dying. So I think that hurts the general population's perception of the music business. There are stores in Birmingham where you can still buy physical product. There are vinyl-only stores in Birmingham. There are other stores that do carry CDs as well. But it's never good when a store closes, regardless of the entity. But I wish their employees well. But it's not really a surprise either how those chains are run. Like I said, it gets back to not being in touch with their customers and what their demographic wants.
You mentioned vinyl. Vinyl has changed this business immensely. You want to talk on that for a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. The resurgence of vinyl, the last 8-9 years, it has just grown exponentially. Even for Oz Music, even 2014 to 2015, our vinyl sales rose 15% from one year to the next. And 15 may not sound like a lot, but to know where it came from, from 2010 to 2014 was just, it more than doubled. I mean, we went from having a small little vinyl section to where vinyl is a major part of what we do now. It used to be every new release order I would make, I would include maybe 1 or 2 pieces of new release product on vinyl. Now I order as much vinyl, if not more, because not only are there new releases being put on vinyl, they're reissuing older titles. So there may be weeks where I'll have more vinyl new releases than I have CD new releases, just because of the product coming onto the market. So, it has absolutely been a boon to this business, not just Oz Music, but to the music business as a whole. And the funny thing to me about it is the target, well, let's say not target demographic, but the majority demographic are 15 to 30-year-olds. And to them, it's like it's a newfound medium, and it is to them. It is newfound to them. But we kind of chuckle that they think they discovered vinyl for the first time. And I'm happy to allow them to think that. And it's encouraging because it's getting a younger demographic back into physical stores, buying physical product. And vinyl is a communal experience as well. I mean, you can make a playlist on your phone, or a CD will last upwards of an hour. You can make a playlist on your phone that will last years. So, you're out of touch more with a CD or even a digital medium. But vinyl, it's a communal experience because within 15 to 20 minutes, that side of the record's done. You've got to go flip it over and drop the needle to get the next half of the album going. So you have to be more connected to the music, and I think that helps people appreciate the music more than just it being kind of a background to their day. We like to credit the biggest boon, this big resurgence of vinyl, to Record Store Day. We are a part of a coalition. It's the Coalition of Independent Music Stores, and there are three total coalitions in the country. And the 3 coalitions got together about 10-12 years ago and said, what can we do to get people back into physical stores? So they instituted this National Record Store Day, and they went to the labels and said, hey, this is the day we're trying to start this day to get people back in. So the labels jumped on board, and they started pressing limited edition LPs that were either color vinyl or stuff that had never been put on vinyl before, or stuff that had been discontinued for 20, 30, 40 years. And it started out probably 20 to 30, 40 titles the first year, to where it's grown the last 4 or 5 years. It's been upwards of 400 titles. And it has turned into our single biggest day of the year by far. I mean, it's bigger than any day leading up to Christmas. It's bigger than any other day we could ever imagine. And last year I had people that started camping out at 1:30 in the afternoon the day before Record Store Day, just so they could be first in line to get that limited edition piece that they were after. So it's turned into a fun day. From a store's perspective, it's a stressful day leading up to it, but it's kind of once we open that morning and the floodgates kind of open up, it turns into a real fun day. It's seeing people that get that one treasured piece that they were after, and it's a very rewarding experience. You're going to be a part of that.
Okay. As you know, I've bought and sold several large collections, but we'll take one record, for instance. I've always had you looking for Pink Floyd's The Vision Bell. The blue vinyl was selling for as much as $500. The black, $250 to $350. Since they reissued it, the original cost $9.95. Some stores sell the Vision Bell for $60-something.
Yeah.
but people are buying it.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So with the resurgence of vinyl, there have been stores, like I said, that are vinyl only stores now. I mean, there's one in Birmingham, and the guy in Birmingham does a great job. There are other stores that have popped up that are trying to cash in on this vinyl resurgence that aren't doing as good of a job. There are certain stores that use online pricing as the end-all be-all. Instead of knowing their market, they look at a worldwide market, and instead of taking an average and kind of adjusting their costs based on that, they take the highest price ever paid. So there are people that know what they're doing in the vinyl, used vinyl especially, and there are other people that don't know what they're doing. And I think consumers will pay for a collector's piece, but they are a more informed consumer than they've ever been. They've got the internet in their pocket, and I see kids in here all the time, looking at a piece and then looking on their phone, and they're price checking it, and that's fine. I encourage people to do that, because the approach we take is, look at an average that a record sells for and then go down from there. I just don't believe in, I told a guy yesterday, as a matter of fact, he was in here looking at a piece that I had priced at right at about $90, and he wasn't questioning my pricing, but I told him why I had it priced at that. And I want to be able to look at my customer in the eye and tell them, to be able to justify why I price something what I do, whether it's $1 record or whether it's a $400 record. I think you need to be able to look your customer in the eye and truthfully tell them why you have something priced that way. The price discrepancies, though, once again, I think you have to know your market. I mean, Tuscaloosa doesn't command a very high price on many items. It's just a very price conscious community, and we recognize that, and we're fine with that. I mean, no one here is trying to retire off of a single record, or retire at all. I mean, I'm 35 years old, so I'm in it for the long haul at this point. So it's a shame, because to me, high prices will kill the business as well. And not even just from a used standpoint, from the record labels also. I mean, our coalition, we're actively going to the labels, warning them of higher priced new vinyl. And we experienced it with the Lana Del Rey release. It's a $40-something release. There's nothing special about it. It's a 2 LP set, but nothing about the release commands a $44, $45 price tag. And we saw consumer pushback, as an industry saw consumer pushback from that high price, because her other albums are all priced anywhere from $19 to $24, and they still sell all day, every day. So it's not a material standpoint or even an artist standpoint, it's a price point, and labels need to recognize that. And the music business, the major labels in the music business, will never be accused of being in touch with their consumers. They have always tried to gouge people at any turn they ever can, and we're trying to warn them as a collective group, don't kill this. And Oz has always taken a stand. When CD price suggested retail prices were $18.99, Oz has always taken the approach of discounting that to $17.99, because we feel like you should be able to walk in, buy a CD with a $20 bill and get change, where with tax at an $18.99 price point, you couldn't do that. You would need more than $20 to purchase that item, and we just think from a psychological standpoint that's a bad deal. So we've always taken a dollar hit on those CDs, and we do it some with the vinyl. I just there's some records out there that I just can't charge list price for, because I just think it's too high. So, I take a hit by discounting. I just think it's the fair thing to do, the right thing to do. So high prices can kill any business, but it can especially kill a business that is already a luxury item to begin with. So, we warn against that constantly. And from a used standpoint, we are very knowledgeable of that, and from a new standpoint, we always take it into consideration as well.
Okay. Where do you see the future for the Oz music?
Bright. I think, I've been a part of Oz for over 15 years. I just recently purchased it, and November 1st was my first day to own the store. And I've had a lot of people ask me, are you going to change anything? And I've taken a very, if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach, because I've been a part of the store for so long. It's been a part of me, but I've been a part of it for so long that it's going fine the way it is, so I don't feel the need to change it. I'm tweaking some things, I'm adding some product lines, and I'm doing some small things differently, but we're just going to kind of keep doing what we've been doing for decades at this point. It's working fine, and I don't feel a need to change it. So we're going to continue to make our customers our first priority, and we're going to continue to supply them with what they want the most, and that's physical products. So I don't see anything changing. Just keep on keeping on.
Okay. Since you have an open forum here, is there anything that we missed that you want to talk to your customer about?
Just to know that, if Oz is more than a retail store. We like to treat our customers like they're part of the family. We have certain customers that come in that we can almost set our watch by them coming in, and Oz is part of their, maybe not part of their everyday routine, but it's part of their weekly routine. And we want to make the person walking in for the first time feel the same as the person that's been shopping with us for decades. That's the atmosphere and the environment that we try to foster. And just to know that they are more than just a customer to us. They're part of the Oz family.
All right. Well, great. Thank you, Jason.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jerry.
Okay.